Usually it really doesn't change from year to year. We actually just got back from Camp Manitou last week, and Camp Manitou is pretty cool because it's a time we can really go over the expectations and really kind of there's kind of four cornerstones to our expectations every year. Is one, everyone on the team, their top priority is being a good student. And the past 6 years, the men's cumulative GPA has been 3.1 or higher. Women's the past 7 years has been 3.4 or higher, and we hope to improve on that this year. So that's always a big goal. The next one is just the fact that obviously the team represents the university, and we want it to be a positive representation. So that's big. Then the other one is just that the team environment has to be positive. Because with distance running, every great distance runner that you've talked to has had some lows where they've had to weather a storm and really kind of dig deep and figure out if it's what they really want to do. And when you go through a low point like that, if you're not positive, it's hard to get through. And with us, I want practice to be fun. We have days that are really hard, but if people have had a crazy day of school, I want them to be looking forward to practice. So basically, hey, I just got to get through till 3:30, and then I can relax for a couple hours. The last kind of cornerstone is just if you work hard, you're going to see success. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about distance running. It's not so much about talent. And that's the big thing that we go over at Camp Manitou is if you make this a priority, you'll be successful. And it doesn't matter if you're the fastest runner on the team or the slowest runner on the team. So that's kind of the big focus for the team every year. As far as a little bit more individual level for this year, I don't put a lot of stock in rankings, but the preseason rankings came out last week, and the men's team, they're ranked 4th in the nation. And I think, if you ask the guys, that's their goal. They want to be in the top 4. And again, I don't put a lot of emphasis on outcome goals like that. We focus more on day-to-day objectives, because I feel like if we can take care of the objectives, we'll get the goal. So I haven't mentioned that at all, but I can just hear from the captains that's what they're really focused on. And on the women's side, I know their goal this year is to get back to nationals. Last year was the first year in 8 years that we didn't go to nationals, and we've got a great group returning. And I think if we can keep everyone healthy, their goal of getting to nationals is very realistic. Areas of strength this year for both teams is we've got a great group of veteran returners coming back. On the guys' side, we've got 3 of 7 from last year's national team coming back. On the women's side, we have 4 of 7 from last year's team coming back. In addition, we have a couple people on both the women's side and the men's side returning that weren't running last year, because of injury or because they were studying abroad. So I think that's the big thing. We've just got a great group of leaders, and even after this first week of practice, a lot of times when we have a newer team, everyone's figuring everything out, but we've already gotten in a good routine, so that has me excited. Some of our top returners, and I actually brought a list because I don't want to leave anyone out, and I think starting first with our men's team, captains, we've got Eric Knutson, who last year he wasn't on the team because he had an injury, but he's back and healthy, great leader, so great to have him back. Adam Moline, he's from Wayzata High School. Eric's from Brookfield Central, I should mention. Adam's our indoor school record holder in the half mile, so he's a little bit more of a track guy, but he's a great cross-country guy too. As a sophomore, he ran at nationals for cross, so he's looking good. Then we have Ryan Mugen, who's from Howards Grove. He was 13th last year at Cross Country National, so he's our top returner back, and is healthy and looks like he had a good summer. And then rounding out the men's captains is Eric Roswald, and he's from Eastview, Minnesota, and he was placed in the mile or the 1500 last year at Outdoor Conference, which was really a national class field. I think there were 6 or 7 All-Americans in that race, and he's healthy and had a good summer. And so we've got a great group of guys returning. In addition to that, we've got Matt Cooper, who's from Ashwaubenon High School. Matt's technically a sophomore on the team, but he's a junior in school. He missed last year, the whole year, cross country and track because of a injury. So he's hungry to go. His freshman year, he was the top freshman in the nation in the 1500. He's looking really, really good. So he'll help a lot. And then kind of rounding out the returners is Christian Leitner, who's a junior from Red Wing, and he's just every year he's been progressing. And at our time trial this past Friday, he was tied, as our top runner in the time trial. So great group of returners coming back on the men's side. On the women's side, going over the captains, we've got Steph Dunleavy. She's from Cadott, Wisconsin, and she's kind of the true glue to our team. She's just a people person and a strong runner too. She placed in conference in the steeplechase last year in track. Then we have Kelsey Yeager, who actually had foot surgery, not this past spring, but the spring before, so she didn't run cross last year, and she's looking, very strong. She's from Waukesha West. She placed in both indoor and outdoor 5K this past year in track, and 2 years ago she was on our 5th place finishing, national cross country team. She was our number, I think, 5 runner on that team. So, Kelsey's great. Then we have Lucy Ramquist, who's from River Falls. Very, very talented runner. Ran great for us in track this past year. Last year, the first week of practice in cross country, she fell off her bike, broke her arm. Basically, she couldn't run for 6 weeks. She still kind of limped through the season, but keeping the fingers crossed, she's healthy right now. So she's, gonna run really well. Then kind of rounding out the returners, we've got Sydney Pretaski, who's from La Crosse Central. She was a freshman last year and was our number 2 runner at regionals, as a freshman. So that was really, really good. And then we have Mel Becker, who's actually a homeschool kid from Osseo, Wisconsin, and she was, I think, our number 5 last year at regionals. So again, a good group of returners on both sides. On the men's side for returners, it's pretty ridiculous. Definitely, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime coaching opportunity for me. We have Darren Lau, who's a hometown guy. He's from Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran. He's 3-time state champion. This past year at state, he won the 3200, fastest 3200 runner in the state this year. And when he ran that time, I was pretty worried because there were 2 Big Ten schools that each did home visits on him, and I was pretty sure he was probably gonna, go elsewhere. But, he called me and he said, he loved the school at Eau Claire. He's very close to his family, and he realizes that, he's comfortable in a good environment and he can run just as fast here as anywhere else. So having him in the mix is pretty, it's going to be pretty fun. In addition, we've got 2 transfers. Josh Thorson, who's from Wayzata High School, he was a state champ, ran 9 flat in the 3200 in Minnesota, transferred from the University of Minnesota, and just kind of getting to know him, but he's a great guy. I think it's going to be a great addition, obviously from a talent perspective, but also he's just a team guy, so that's a big one. And then Andrew Ferris, who's a Chippewa Falls grad. He went to the University of Alabama for his first 2 years, and came back to Eau Claire because he's a psychology major, and the program at Eau Claire is a better fit than his previous institution. And he was a very strong runner in high school, and he's just kind of getting back into things, but he looked really strong at our time trial. So again, I think there's quite a few Division I coaches that are probably envious of our roster. So with that being said, my goal this year is just not to screw anything up. Try to keep them healthy, and number one goal is just to get to regionals. Hopefully with everyone feeling good on that day. So yeah, we're very fortunate on the men's side. On the women's side, for newcomers, another great crew. We've got Leanne Arsbecker. She's a freshman from Pewaukee. She ran really well last year at the state cross-country meet. She's totally into running, so I think she's going to be a great addition to the team. Then we have Brianna Nelson, who's from Jefferson, Wisconsin. Last year was her first year running track. She ran really well in the 800 at state. And again, kind of like Leanne, I can just tell she's really into it just from our first week of practice. And then another person is Maddie Kelly. And I was a little bit worried because I didn't know if she was going to go out for the team this year, but right at the end of August she decided she wanted to go out. So she's playing a little catch-up now, getting in shape. But her sister was a phenomenal runner at UW-Oshkosh, and Maddie's going to be really, really strong too if she can just stay positive and stay with it here the next few months. But I feel like I don't want to single anyone out. It's just overall we've got a great group, so definitely excited about the upcoming season. Our schedule for cross country, we're a little bit different than most sports where this might come out bad, but our first meet that really matters is conference, and even that isn't as important as regionals. So all our training is gearing towards regionals and hopefully nationals. With that being said, we've got a great schedule this year. We're going to see some really good teams at every single meet we go to. This Saturday we've got alumni, which will be fun. I mean, we've got a lot of alums who are coming back, and it's really kind of just a fun, almost more of a workout for the team there. But then 2 weeks after that we go to St. Olaf. The MIAC has incredible women's teams, so the women's side of things will be very deep. St. Olaf men won nationals last year, so we'll see the best team, arguably the best team right out of the gates on the men's side. Then we have another week off, and we host our home invitational, the Blue Gold Invite. Obviously I'm biased, but it's a great meet. Last year we had close to 900 runners there. St. Olaf will be there on the men's side and the women's side. UW-La Crosse will be there on both sides. So it's going to be a great opportunity to mix it up with some, top 10 schools, right away on both sides. Then after that, we have another weekend off, and we go to UW-Oshkosh, and that's arguably the best Division III cross-country meet in the entire season. They'll have teams from California there, teams from the East Coast. Basically every region will be represented. I know Grand Valley State this year, who is a Division II powerhouse on both the women's side and the men's side, will be there. And that's where our regionals are this year. So it'll give our team an opportunity to mix it up against some teams we're going to have to run well against to make it to nationals. And the nice thing is we'll get to see the regional course. After Oshkosh, we've got we have a small meet at Lake Wissota, and then it's conference, which La Crosse is hosting. That's at Ettrick Golf Course, which is a new venue, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like. The week after conference, we take everyone who's not running regionals, and we go to Luther it's called the JV Cup, which is an awesome opportunity for our younger runners to kind of see where they're at and mix it up. The last couple of years we've had individuals on both the men's side and women's side win, and several of those individuals have went on to be All-Americans for us. So that's fun for kind of more of our younger people to mix it up and really race up front. Then regionals back at Oshkosh, and hopefully nationals it's the Voice of America Park, which is just outside of Mason, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, and it's hosted by Wilmington College.